Okay, so yeah, 2021 films, all I've watched. I watched more than I thought, way more than I thought. So I'll just be going into it from worst to best. That's kind of how most lists do it. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting off 33rd with Thunder Force. I basically remember nothing of this movie. It's terrible. It's unfunny. For some of these, I've already done reviews, so I might like put that up in the bubble as well. But I have scripts for some of these, at least what I liked and I didn't like. Um, Basically, I just found it really unfunny. There was like this whole thing with like a crab man that I didn't really find funny. It's got the typical markings of just generally unfunny comedies. It doesn't work that much. A lot of it like relies on either gross out humor or just I don't know shit that just doesn't fucking work. And maybe it's in the actor's performance. They don't explain some stuff like how the people get their powers. I think like for the villains, um, I also mentioned Melissa McCarthy seems to be playing the same character. Basically, just look at my review because I cannot fucking remember this movie for the life of me. It was just very uninteresting. It's typical shit that like you'd watch for 5 minutes, think the idea is cool, but it's done terribly, and then just turn off. So yeah, I'm just gonna be going back to 32nd, which is Tom and Jerry, also terrible, non-funny. I'm not really sure which one's worse. I also have a kind of like a script of what I like, and the one good thing I said about this movie was the antics are enjoyable. They led to a few funny sight gags. That's kind of it. There's a bunch of jokes. I think Michael Pena's character talks about TikTok and Instagram, but I don't know what he calls them. Calls them something else. There's also a fish with like a shit emoji in its mine. A lot of like really dumb shit. It also feels like it's multiple plots in one. I think I mentioned that. There's also a point nearly 40 minutes in where they could have solved the problem and easily grab the mouse and leave it outside, but of course it's not feature length, so some antics have to ensure the fact that the problem could be more easily solved than the one in Lake Placid is sad. But at least Lake Placid was kind of funny and like had some shit happening to stop it that felt more realistic. It's just like it's not funny. It's the typical shit where like people are looking at, oh, what's the most trending things? And they don't really put any effort into it. Thankfully, I don't think I gave this piece of shit my money. I just like fucking pirated it, which fuck off. I don't really care. Um, Honestly, I'll put my money to actually good films like this. I think it's mirrored, so fuck. But yeah, it's just hip hop shit. Yeah, there's also hip hop music and like stupid fucking like I was about to say penguins, but they might as well because honestly it doesn't matter what they are, they don't contribute anything. There's like these birds that just recap the plot like this is a fucking show or this is the last guest or some shit. That's not a comparison you want ever made towards your film. Unless it's something basic like the idea was good, because yeah, the idea of I guess the last guest was good. I don't fucking know. A lot of movies have good ideas. Fuck, even the Emoji Movie could have been done better, but honestly I just watched 2 minutes of that shit, got depressed as fuck and then left. So yeah, 31st is going to be Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I know people like this movie, that's totally fine, but if you really want to talk about anything movie-wise, like actual movie-wise, like story and stuff like that, the movie literally falls over itself so many times. Shit doesn't make sense. I watched part of Phil Mento's review of the movie and definitely points out some of the problems. Cletus Cassidy is just a fucking lame-ass villain with zero development, but then again, he feels like the Star Wars characters like from the original, like hell, even like Alan Grant, compared to like fucking Carnage, who gets zero characterization besides, ooh, I'm an evil guy that'll kill people in PG-13 tame-ass ways, because this movie's tame as fuck. That's the least of its problems, because at least it gets somewhat of a horror aspect, right? At least Quiet Place was PG-13, but actually had some gory shit, but like I guess there's less deaths, so each one could have been more gory, because this one has like 500 deaths, but honestly the movie feels like nothing fucking happens, but also shit is happening at the same time. It's literally just an SNL skit, or just like this, it feels like some sort of cartoon that's like 2-3 times as long, and because most cartoons are like 20-30 minutes long, so it's, yeah, it's like 2-3 times as long. It's very short, just like the first Venom movie, which yes is technically an hour and 50 minutes, but that includes the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse post-credit scene in the credits, so the actual movie is like 90 minutes long. It's about as long as an average fucking like demon possession movie or some shit. So yeah, this one's even shorter. It's like 80 something minutes long. Like there's this detective who apparently shot like Shriek and like his ears fucked up. He has like no characterization. Same with Shriek, who is loud and the symbiotes hate loud. So of course her and Cletus, Cassie, and Carnage are not gonna work out. It's so obvious how it's gonna fail. It's not even like subtle, but that's the least of this movie's problems, being subtle. Anne is in this for 5 seconds. Same thing with Dan, who's slightly more meaner, which is a little bit weird. Tom Hardy and Venom's dynamic is kind of cool, but honestly, I don't know if it's the shitty film quality of what I was watching, because again, I fucking pirated this. I mean, at least I watched Thunder Force on Netflix, so yeah, fuck off. But basically, Venom sounded much more grating on my ears, and he's a bit annoying. There's this part where he tries to go like to new people and bond with them, and for some reason does it, even though in the first movie they make a point about how hard it is to bond. Shouldn't the dumbass have known that it was gonna be really hard to bond? So like, why bother? You just kill a bunch of people. There's this whole thing where there's chickens in the house and shit. I mean, that was kind of a funny thing, and at least it's entertaining, but it's just so fucking sloppily done. It's objectively fucking terrible in terms of storytelling. It's entertaining, but that's it, man. There's only so far entertainment can go before the problems of a story really set in. Also, there was like no snow for me this Christmas, so that fucking sucks. Alright, 30th. I'm losing like the placement, so I'll put like the fucking number if I lose whichever one it is, like say the incorrect one. So 30th is Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm gonna rewatch this hopefully sometime to maybe like do a re-review to have more solid points or add a few more, kind of like with Jurassic World. Because yeah, my review on Godzilla vs. Kong was not super duper received. Well, I can kind of understand why, but it kind of makes me dislike the community when they're such gatekeeping losers that get mad whenever you don't like one of the fucking movies and then act like you don't deserve to be part of the fandom. Like, dude, that just makes the community look worse and make people not want to join it. Fucking idiots. But people like to praise these movies because of the cool effects and stuff like that, which is cool, but like, hey, guess what? There's a thing called a story, which is like 60% of the fucking movie, if not more. Like, the story is literally like the characters and what they do, the action sequences and all that stuff. So yeah, the story is just like kind of cool, but I don't know. I forgot a lot about this movie. It was forgettable trash. Like, it's entertaining, but that's kind of fucking it. I can watch any of these MonsterVerse movies, but honestly, they feel like downgraded versions of previous movies. Like Godzilla 2014, probably downgraded, but still really good version of Godzilla 1954. Got Kong Skull Island, just a downgraded version of the 2005's Island segment. Godzilla versus Godzilla King of Monsters, I don't know, just like fucking Jurassic World and Pacific Rim 2 with all the stupid fan service and nonsensical shit. Godzilla vs. Kong, it's like Batman versus Superman where they have to team up against a common enemy like fucking Mecha Godzilla. The villains are fucking terrible. They're boring as shit. One of them is like, has the Serizawa last name. I think they're connected. Ren and this dude Serizawa, I don't fucking know. They're about as uninteresting as fucking Plates, but Plates literally cannot talk, so yeah. I mean, there's like this podcaster dude who's uninteresting. There's this dude who is in the amazing Hunt for Wilder People and the, I guess, kind of cool looking Deadpool 2. I forget the actor's name. He was like the main character in Hunt for the Wilder People, which also had Sam Neill in it. That movie's just great. I want to see Event Horizon now because that had Sam Neill in it. But yeah, fuck this movie. I also did a review of it, but either way, wrong turn. This is another one I did a review for. I was sick when filming it. Can you tell? You probably can. Basically, it's very depressing to watch this movie, more so because of how much wasted potential was. I also wrote notes on my letterbox list for this, because even if you don't care about there being no cannibals, which is kind of the whole point of the series, you at least could have done something like that. And no, one of the slaves eating one of them does not count. That barely fucking counts. It's still horribly edited, although it's not the worst in terms of editing. I think I kind of like, what do you say, like over-exaggerated that, but like, it's more just horribly written because the halfway segment where it turns into a completely different movie is just completely fucking idiotic. It's just like, you got these people that are like held here, held kind of against their will. One of them can talk. Only one of them can talk. The rest can't, or they'll be punished. Sounds like a rigged ass trial. And here's the thing. If it turned out that, I really think this movie could have been done well if there was like two factions maybe of like these people. One that were cannibals and one that were the good guys. And the whole theme about like not learning to judge people just because of like some preconceived prejudices could still work out, because it's actually the cannibals that are killing other people and setting the other people up for it. Or it could have been a whole like manipulation thing with this movie where we meet the killers early on. Also, there's a 40-minute fucking like flashback sequence. This whole thing is like 40 fucking minutes long, like the actual somewhat entertaining part, like where they're actually being killed in the forest, but even that's not that good. That was a whole fucking 40-minute stretch of just flashback. This whole flashback is twice as long as the Friday the 13th 2009 flashback beginning thing. But like, what the fuck? That's so stupid. But basically, you could have had that where they were like kind of manipulating them into thinking that they were wrong and they shouldn't like go against these people because they're actually good. But then it turns out, no, they're actually bad. They're just straight up lying to you. But with this, it seems like they're trying to be like, oh, you shouldn't judge these people. They're like, so cool. They're nice. It got mixed messages. Like, were we not supposed to have preconceived prejudices against these guys? Or should we? Because they're fucking murderers, even though they're saying they're not. It doesn't make any sense. Though I will give this movie 2 things, or maybe 3. The acting is good, but the cinematography and music is absolutely amazing and top-notch. Straight up, some of the best I've seen in a while. It's really good. It almost elevates this from being a piece of shit to a watchable one. But, like, if you enjoy it, that's still cool. But the technical aspects are great. Like, it actually looks like something with a bunch of money put into it. But that's it. Besides the visual shit and, like, some good acting, that's it. The story makes no fucking sense. It tries to be woke briefly, which is so weird, because, like, one of the female characters, prove yourself. So you don't need that stupid whole, like, ooh, girl power thing. Like, no, just have her prove herself without force feeding us. Just have her prove herself, which she literally does later on. It's fucking retarded. Alright, I think that was 29th, or whatever. Then we got 28th, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. The 2021 one, not that, like, 2010 movie. I would never in a million years think about giving that anything lower than, like, a 3.5 or 4. Because that movie is actually funny. This was one of the most emptiest and hollowest film experiences I've had. It doesn't even count as a fucking movie. It's 50-something minutes long. It's like a short. It's like a cartoon, just maybe like twice as long at most. It's a hollow-ass cartoon. It's done kind of in the style of the books, just like with color. Because Manny still looks like a retarded fucking buck-teeth beaver thing. And also, what the fuck in the, like, there was something so weird that bugged me with the scene where they were eating. The meatballs just kept moving around and shit. It really bugged the fuck out of me. It really did. It looked like shit. I wasn't even sure what the fuck it was. It was just moving around. It bugged the hell out of me. If you watch that scene, you might understand what I'm saying. It bugged the hell out of me so fucking much and weirded me out. It was a hollow, empty-ass movie that is just not Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's the antithesis. Some of the voice acting is good, but some of it, like, straight up early on when you hear Susan talk, it sounds like she was saying in a fucking Zoom call or something. It sounded that bad. The movie was just so, literally, objectively wise, the pacing is terrible. It's way too quick. You barely learn anything about these versions of the characters. Honestly, I fucking hated Riley, kind of. He was kind of a cunt, honestly, in this movie. Not even a movie, just a fucking short film, basically. Because it doesn't count. It's not even like an hour long, let alone an hour and 20 minutes long. It's fucking hollow, empty-ass movie. It's too short to care about any of these characters. I would just read the books, man. The books, yes, are long in terms of pages, but also short in terms of words. But this still easily could have been a 90 to 100-minute movie like the original ones. Fuck. I actually think they maybe could have gotten some of the actors from the original, to voice them at least. Because, like, I mean, you want to be like, oh, well, they can never voice kids. What about Morty from Rick and Morty? Isn't that voiced by fucking Justin Roiland, who's like an adult? I mean, yeah, it's a bit of an obnoxious voice, I guess. I mean, it quickly grew on me, but, like, you could fucking do that, or just, I don't know, be, like, accepting. You want some teenagers sound pretty, like, low-pitched? Like, that they'd sound deeper? Yeah, 27th. I'm losing track of this already. 27th, Great White. It's, like, this movie from the producers of 47 Meters Down. I didn't even really finish it because I was, like, rather bored and uninterested. But there is something to be said for having some decent effects. I mean, they don't come close to the poster or even look too much like the poster because that shark looks bigger and better. But, hey, you know, again, could have been worse coming from the producers of those awful 47 Meters Down movies, which I also did reviews for. Watch those reviews. Those are pretty good. Actually, I might just list the whole fucking, like, series of unknown film reviews. I only did, like, 7 of those. Watch them. I think they're pretty good. They evolve over time. So the first few, I don't show my face because I tried to do it where I could show my face and put images, but with videos, it didn't work out. Point is, this movie was just kind of boring. It's basically Cage Dive if they were only stuck on the fucking raft for, like, most of the movie. It was boring. It's got, like, that girl from Tucker and Dale, so, like, that's it. It's bad. It's just bad. That's it. So, yeah. I mean, there could be worse, I guess, but alright. Number 26, Eternals. I enjoyed watching in theaters. First movie I saw in theaters since Rise of Skywalker. You know what, fuck it. I'm not going to do this number ranking thing. I can just do that in the corner right there. Top of the poster, like I was probably previously doing. Basically, I enjoyed watching in theaters. First movie I saw in theaters since Rise of Skywalker, so that kind of helped. But once that joy wore off kind of quickly, I realized that this was just somewhat bad, not that bad, but way too much crammed in a movie that's way too short. it's too many genres and has like maybe 3, maybe if you want to think about it in a certain way, like with the whole murder mystery aspect, maybe there's more. But there's like 3 villains as well, but only one was kind of interesting. It was one of those like weird creatures. I think it was a deviant. Fuck, I have no idea what it's called. And they get killed off without much resolution. And it's wasted potential, but I did enjoy the famous actor doing his friend in that post-credit scene. I think like Harry Styles or whatever the fuck. But like, I don't know. I like the post-credit scenes, both of them. They were cool. It's entertaining. Some of the characters are somewhat well developed, but like, I don't understand the whole complaint about forced diversity. I don't really think it was that forced, honestly. Like, the dude being gay was barely part of his character. It's more just how underdeveloped these characters are, so maybe it made it more obvious. This is just, this is just nothing good. And next up, we have the Forever Purge. I'm literally just gonna go to my Letterboxd review of it. I can't even remember too much of it other than like, it was entertaining. The movie's poster's mismarketing. That cowboy bitch only shows up for like 1 shot. Same with that bullet mouth guy in the thumbnail of like Universal's like official, like their own channel with that official trailer. And same with those guys who said that idiotic Forever Purge thing and killed Will Patton, who was the sheriff in Halloween. I actually kind of liked his character. Those dudes were like, oh, the Forever Purge thing. Like, yeah, they died. Some of them didn't even seem like they died, but they never even show up later again. And then these racists who have the subtlety of like a sledgehammer show up in like the last 20-30 minutes, kill one of the disposable characters, has this shit fucker named Mother die, and then he's like, ooh, I'm like the main villain of this movie, even though there's like less time in the movie than the initial inciting incident where you get to know these characters. It's like they had 4 or 5 cool villain ideas, but did not know how to have them all. Instead of just having like 1 or 2, they just put them all in there without any regard for how dumb it would be and how little developed it would be. Also, the characters were just not very interesting. Willy's Wonderland, don't have too much to say. It's entertaining, but the child acting's not very good. It's just nothing too crazy. It's not very scary. It's entertaining, but yeah, that's kind of it. I recommend you kind of watch it. I still think it's bad, but just not that bad. Okay, Army of the Dead. This one's kind of interesting. I think it's just meh. So I'm not really sure how to feel again. I mean, I'm not interested in watching the prequel of the character I know will live. But it has like too much slow-mo, underdeveloped characters. And the ones I do like, the main character in that prequel and like 2 others, get killed off somewhat early. And there's like this one dude who betrays him, which I cannot tell if it was predictable or out of nowhere because the dude had like nothing to them. It's like this military dude. Also, it's hinted at that they're in like maybe a time loop and maybe there's aliens or robot zombies as well like blue blood. Because based on the beginning, you can see like some lights flashing by and some people are like, oh, UFOs. So like, I guess. But the reason for the zombie showing up is like really fucking dumb because some dude in his car wanted like a blowjob and so he was getting one, so he wasn't paying attention. He was like, oh, I'm having so much pleasure. And then these people, like these military people in the truck are just talking, not fucking paying attention to the road, and then they crash. Wow, that's so cool. And these people continue to shoot at the zombie even after they realize, or even after they should realize, it doesn't do anything. So that was kind of fucking dumb. The movies are really long, honestly. It should have been done like 90 minutes. It's too long of a movie. The characters aren't very interesting. I mean, at least it's somewhat entertaining at parts. Tig Notaro's character, I think, she was kind of funny. There's that. Okay, next is Halloween Kills. I already did a review of this film after I saw it twice, basically in a row. You can watch that. I was also sick when filming that. It's probably a little bit less noticeable, but I did say that I was sick. So either way, I maybe dislike it a bit more because it just feels like 2 subplots. One where they're in like the hospital. Actually, maybe 3. One where people are in the hospital, like Lori, who does nothing in this fucking movie. These mob people are just stupid and keep splitting up. And Michael occasionally killing people and never meet up except for the mob people briefly. In this terrible ending mob scene where it's edited fucking atrociously. Like, most of the kills are done at the very beginning or at the very end. All the firefighter people, have them die off screen. Talk about pussy ass shit. Fucking lame. Give me something better, bitch. Like, fucking lame as shit. The firefighters didn't even bother to give up a fight. They were just going in one at a time. Like, this is some stupid fucking action movie where, like, and I'm not saying action movies are stupid. I'm just saying, like, a stupid fucking action movie where, like, there's obviously no care and dudes are just going up one at a time so they can easily take them out. Like, no. Show them working together, trying to figure shit out, trying to beat the shit out of them, and then have them, like, totally fucking fail. like maybe even have them like come close to succeeding, but they still fail because it's Michael Myers instead of going one at a time. And also the mob scene is like edited so weirdly that it looks like they were just put on like this black screen and they just stood there and then got killed. Not like they were actually fighting like a mob. They did that briefly before, but that's literally it. Wow. Kind of a piece of shit comparatively to 2018, which is a much better movie. Straight up way better. That whole Loomis scene where he's like, oh, let him burn was infinitely more scarier and entertaining than this movie. It's just, what a disappointment. Next is Separation from the dude who made The Devil Inside. I actually was not expecting to kind of like this. It's entertaining. It's got Rupert Fried or whatever. The dude from Hitman Agent 47, the 2015 one, which I'm pretty sure nobody watched. Same thing with the other one. He was a pretty good actor. All the actors are pretty good. I do like how this isn't just like your typical haunting. It's like the mom trying to like go after the father because she still sees him as unfit. And I guess I can understand why some people say this movie's kind of sexist because I guess they don't really portray the woman in good light. But also not really the same with one of the males played by Brian Cox. So yeah, that definitely, yeah, it's kind of noticeable. I didn't find it the worst. I'm not saying that sexism isn't the worst. I'm just saying I didn't find it like so blatantly obvious. I mean, I don't know if that's more a thing on me, but I think it just was kind of scary. There's nothing too crazy to it. It's just a decent film. It's entertaining. I like the different puppets and stuff the ghost came in. Like it had, that sounds weird. Like different forms. And I kind of like the twist. So yeah. All right. Next up is Antlers. It's kind of depressing to be talking about this movie because I was really hoping this movie would be good. It looked really scary, looked really gory, looked just really good, and it's decent because here's the thing. There's a few kills, but when the Wendigo reaches its final form, all it does is maybe kill, I guess, that one cop played by Rory Cochrane, who's really dumb because he's just like going into the shed even after he hears like roaring from a monster. Like honestly, if I was taking that in a situation where it was like one cop just looking after this place, I'd be almost insulted. Be like, oh, are you trying to get me killed? You should send at least like a fucking SWAT team because this thing kills a bunch of people. Not that many. I was hoping it would like kill like a town, go through some people. The ending is really rushed. The thing kind of becomes dumb. I get it, kill a bear, and after it eats, it becomes a little bit more slower, but it doesn't really do that much after it reaches final form. I was hoping it'd kill a fuck ton of people and wreck some shit. I know this might be a smaller budget, but like something like that. I don't know, but like, not really. It's still done well. It's still creepy at times, but just not creepy enough. It's a bit disappointing watching this movie because it could have been something more. Not the worst movie. I still recommend you watch it, but rushed ending where I guess, spoilers, the cop gets infected and starts to turn to the Wendigo. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend you watch this movie, but still to an extent, yes. Because I like supporting smaller movies like this. Alright, next up is Fear Street 1994. I kind of forgot this movie came out this year. It's fine. Nothing to really say. Yeah, it's just fine. Like, nothing much to say. It's entertaining. It's got some cool kills. It's not the worst movie. It's just fine. Like, it's a decent movie. I'd recommend you watch it. It's enjoyable. Really it. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, also just fine. Like, cool action sequences, but lame as fuck villain. And just too much crammed in, like, one almost short film, basically. Like, yes, it's 2 hours long, but, like, there was too much crammed in this movie. It's like movies nowadays can't have one idea or even two. They gotta have 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 ideas. Like, holy shit, calm down. Like, your movie's entertaining. You don't need that many ideas because then you can't properly develop them all and you just come across pretentious trying to be like, oh, let me just add in as many deep and cool ideas to make me seem cooler and more intricate than I really am. Just do 1 or 2 ideas and do it really well. Because there's some shit with like generation stuff and like other things. It's not fully developed. They also got the Mandarin in this for a bit and like this faceless bear thing. They were okay, I guess. I don't know. I mean, the first hour was entertaining, but then later on it just kind of got a bit boring. And they got to like the whole land with all the people in it, I forget what it's fucking called. It got less interesting. I don't know why. It just simply did. Aquafina was alright in this movie. She was okay. Not very funny, but it was okay. The main actor was pretty good. You know, he sold the fight sequences, but that's kind of it. It's just a fine movie. Watch it, but honestly, a lot of Marvel movies are a bit overhyped. I enjoy quite a few, but still, it's kind of overhyped. Next is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not very boring actually for a 4-hour movie. But there are some problems I kind of forget. Because again, it's been a while. And these are 33 fucking movies. Well, technically 32. I'm going to talk about one other show because I really like it. But it's got some problems. And a bit of a weird song for Aquaman. Where like these people are just like sniffing his clothes and shit. It's nothing amazing. That's it. It seems like it's trying to be a bit cooler than it is. It's just a solid action movie. And it's a solid drama at times. And it's entertaining and captivated me easily. It's done well, not done amazingly, but it's, I guess, a step up from what I saw the original Justice League, which do color grading as well, man. What the fuck? Alright, Don't Breathe 2, not nearly as good as the first film. The villain is treated as a human, which for some reason kind of worked for me, which made me feel a bit dirty because he's again a fucking rapist. I don't know why, it's weird. It's weird. I almost felt a little bit bad for him, but at the same time, he's kind of a murderer. This again kind of feels like two movies, but it connects a bit better because, like, fuck off ad, you can eat my ass. No, you can't. That's fucking weird. Basically, the plot is, the blind dude has his daughter, but it turns out this daughter belongs to some other people who take her, but kind of need her to, like, donate some blood or something to, like, their very sick mother, to her very sick mother. Then it kind of comes at the end to, like, kill a bunch of people in really over-the-top ways, or the very least ways that wouldn't be possible for a fucking blind dude, but fuck reality, I guess. That, yeah. Okay. That makes sense, totally. But, it's entertaining. It's just not nearly as scary or just as good as the original one, which is a very tight-paced movie. This is kind of too, but still, it's tight-paced, simple, lean, mean. That sounds weird. Movie. It's just done well. Got good kills, like this one does, but it's just simply much more airtight and better. The characters you can actually care for a bit more, except for money. Fuck money. What a piece of shit, honestly. The Tomorrow War. I also did a review of this. I'll try to see if I can like actually do that with the bubble so many times. I feel like I might not be able to, but I haven't really reviewed too many of these. It's an enjoyable sci-fi film that's gotten a bit too much hate, honestly. Like, just watch my review. Basically, I already talked about it. It's just entertaining. It's done well. And next up is A Quiet Place Part 2. So I'm literally just going to read the review I wrote for on Letterboxd. So I said, an improvement over the last, but just by a bit. I'll get over the bad stuff as there's not too much. The kills were a bit too tame at times and felt a bit too commercialized, unlike the first. The whole hearing aspect of the monster seemed to sometimes change on will. In one scene, people walking and a few other semi-low noises don't attract the monster. In one other scene, someone barely moving a drawer attracts him. It's not as bad as and inconsistent as the first, so there's that. Also, for part of the plot to hint at survivors being crazy and dangerous, there's not many of them. It's like one scene that's really awesome, and I'll get to that. But, and that also leads to massacre, but besides that, we barely see any survivors, let alone crazy ones. Yes, on the island, there's a bunch of survivors, but there's barely in the film. They aren't crazy and dangerous. So my point still stands. That's just all the problems I have. Although, there's this stranger played by Demon, I don't know, the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy. He dies in a really weird way. He's just like backs up, is like, I need to get back to the people and back up so that this monster can kill me, because I obviously for some reason forget that these things can hear. But I think the rest is pretty great. The opening is just pure tension and build up with a great payoff, and isn't that tame, especially with the cop dying where it implies something messed up with some disturbing sound effects, although obviously it could have been more gory. Like, just look at, I don't know, fucking Saw or something. The whole scene is great, setting up Emmett, who later becomes a likable character. Like I said, the one scene with crazy survivors is great with a bit of blood and violence. It isn't annoyingly tame and is intense. It also has a good sense of pacing. I don't think I was bored really once. It isn't always at level like 100 of intensity, but nothing is really wasted. It's just an entertaining, interesting sequel that doesn't feel like a retread of the first, and it expands on some new ground and has a lot to like. And I also talk about the dude on the island, played by a decently big actor. So Demon, what the hell? I'm sorry, I butchered that. But overall, it's a must-watch. It has some problems, but it's entertaining more so than the first, and it's worth the price of admission. Even if you just want to watch that chaotic opening scene, honestly. So yeah, I mean, even if you just want to watch that opening scene, still worth the price of admission. But all right, yeah. Next up is Old. I'd give that technically a 7 out of 10, so I think it's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more entertaining than A Quiet Place Part 2. I think it was pretty good. I like the characters. I mean, there's this one dude who's just blatantly fucking racist and wasn't very subtle about it, so that was, I don't know if that's good character writing. I don't really know, man. It's just like a racist who kills the black dude. Sorry, that sounds... He kills, like, the dude who's, like, a fucking rapper. I forget his fucking name. Like, a really fucking weird-ass name. It's, like, Midlife Crisis or something. Mid-sized Sedan. What the fuck? Mid-sized sedan. He's like a fucking rapper, I think. That was... I don't know why they named him that, but that's fucking weird. The kills are cool, although they do cut away a bit too much. It's entertaining. I do like the whole aspect. It's a high concept movie. It's very interesting. I do like the twist, how it's kind of criminal engineered, but not really. Like, it's still phenomenal, but the criminals are using it to their benefit to trust out drugs in the long term because, you know, the humans age quickly. So that was pretty cool. I like how they survived by going to the coral because this kid that they previously talked to, whose father is part of this whole thing, talks to him about, like, how he doesn't like the coral because I guess he has to deal with so many people going to the beach and, like, never coming back. So, yeah. I mean, the villains aren't also, like, completely shitty people. Like, they're doing it to benefit people. And one girl who has, like, seizures in this movie didn't have it for, like, 16 years of her life or something like that because of, like, something that they gave her. I don't know if it was, like, a drink or something. But, like, yeah. So that was kind of cool. I mean, they went the just generic people were like, ooh, oh, we're gonna take over the world and booty rape it. But, I mean, yeah, it's just an entertaining movie. And then next up is Fear Street 1978. A bit better with a few more likable characters. But some really get on my nerves. And some that are too off-screen and not scary. I would still recommend a watch. But yeah, these movies just weren't exactly my type of thing. They weren't super scary. I don't know. It just failed to kind of like be interesting to me. It's still not the worst. I wouldn't recommend you watch it. It's entertaining. It still manages to be, again, entertaining for a near 2-hour-long movie. But, I mean, if you look at the poster, you're kind of going to know who the survivor is. But they try to play it off like a surprise. But yeah, just overall, it's just a good movie. It's good. It's a bit better than the original one. I did not see the third one, though. I watched like 15 minutes of it, but that's kind of it. Because again, I wasn't really too interested in these movies. And then next up is The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. It's a bit lackluster if you are binging these, sort of, not exactly, but just binging maybe like the main 3 films within a close time frame. Because compared to the others, it's probably scarier than Annabelle Comes Home, but it's not as scary as the other 2. It's more of a slashery type movie, so it didn't really work as much for me. I still like slashers. I mean, I really fucking like Friday the 13th Part 6, but it just wasn't as good, and like the characters weren't as good as the original one. It does feel like a little bit less more believable. There's some whole like psychic shit in this movie with Lorraine Warren. Ed has like a heart attack in this movie, I think, for a bit. And there's like the initial possession scene. It's all pretty entertaining. It's not as scary. Like, it feels a little bit less believable than the first 2, but it's also just not as scary. That's all. Like, it's just nothing amazing. It's still really well done. I think it's a pretty good movie, but that's kind of it. Then, Malignant, which I already did a review on. I'm not really sure how to feel. On the one hand, it's got a good twist in music. Really good music, but on the other hand, the twist does not make sense. I go more in depth in my review. Again, if I can't even link it. Well, I mean, I have the link just like to, what do you call it? Like, put this many bubbles, because I have quite a few of these reviewed. Alright, now we're getting to the last few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, like last 10 or something like that. And then, alright, next is Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Yeah, it just had less likable characters than the first one. But cool traps and puzzles nonetheless. I'm not really sure what to think about this subplot about, like, the makers of the trap, like the puzzles. I'm not really sure. It's alright. But I'm just gonna start saying them a bit quicker, like these. And then, alright, so next one, Spiderman No Way Home. I already did a review of it. You can literally just watch it, like right up there or whatever. If I run out of room, I'll probably just start making these, or you can literally just go on my channel because it's a really recent video. Just a decent, pretty good movie. Then next is Spiral from the Book of Saw. I understand the dislike, but I just really enjoyed it. I mean, hey, the twist villain was predictable, not very good, but he's been in worse movies like 2011, The Darkest Hour. So like, yeah, it's just entertaining. Got cool traps, not super scary though, and the twist villain is kind of predictable. Then next is Squid Game. I don't give a fuck that this is not a movie. I still really enjoy it. It's still very enjoyable. I like the characters. It's just nothing crazy special. I probably like As It Got Sold more, but cool traps. I like characters play off each other and how they're developed over time. You know, you're not exactly sure who's gonna survive. Well, I mean, you know who's gonna survive, but it still sucks when you see some of the people die. You know, it still sucks. I mean, I think that's good writing. You know, when you know they're gonna die, it still sucks that they die and you feel bad. Like Ollie. Alright, next is Wish Dragon. Don't really have too much to say about this. It's just nothing really crazy. It's entertaining. It hits all the emotional beats. It's like a really good, not knockoff, but like a really good Aladdin, basically. I'm not really sure which is better. Both are good. Both have funny moments. I like the character of the dragon and the main character. You know, relatable struggles, technically, to an extent. Next is Boss Level. I like the really cool idea of like time travel, where he's basically constantly getting killed. Now they thrust you into the action. Not like, they kind of explain it as it goes on, and I like how gradually over time the worlds just start literally just exploding even without like him doing anything, and it's kind of sad. And well, the villain and like Naomi Watts' character, I think, wife, aren't really super duper well developed. It's still very entertaining, good piece of action. I was about to say anime, what the fuck? But yeah, it's kind of the same with the next film, Nobody, a solid gory action film, nothing really crazy. You care about the character. The concept, yeah, it's basically John Wick. I think it's made by the same dude who made John Wick, but still, it's a really enjoyable film. Well done, well shot, very gory. I think the film even says itself, it's excessive but glorious, I think, nonetheless. So yeah, that's basically how to describe it. Excessive but glorious nonetheless. Next up is Mitchell vs. the Machines. I really liked it. I thought it was very funny. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I find it very funny. I like the characters, what they go through. There's a part with the Furbies. I mean, it's a little bit cringe, but still. I mean, the movie has cringe moments, but like it kind of feels realistic. The mom going berserk was kind of cool. Seeing her beat up a bunch of humans. Not humans, what the fuck, robots. I'm a little bit confused. Well, I guess there's like this character played by, fucking, what's his name? He's like, you know, Road Trip. I think that maybe came out also in 2021. I don't know. It says like some other areas like 2019, 2020. So like, I don't know. I wasn't sure to include it. Eric Andre, I think he's like in this movie briefly. He's just kind of there. I'm not really sure if that's a problem. I like it. I might change the grade from a 5 out of 5 to a 4.5 probably, because it's, I think maybe more deserving of 4.5. And then we get to the first ranked, I guess the highest rank, which is the Suicide Squad. It also has an actor from 2011, The Darkest Hour, but he gets more developed here and doesn't die in a really avoidable death like in that movie. It's a great superhero film that may be a bit predictable, but it has some nice twists, or maybe I'm just so used to terrible, lame superhero films that are too predictable. Either way, it's really funny, and I would recommend you watch it. Pretty sure a lot of people have already watched it. It's fun to watch on HBO Max with my family. It's very funny. There's a bunch of swearing, but still, I don't have a problem with that. My family does, kind of. There's a lot of gore. It's entertaining. They take not very well-known characters and make them very likable and feel like characters that you almost should know. Like you might feel bad because they're actually kind of well-developed. There's a Peacemaker spin-off show coming out, I guess, before he died or maybe after, I don't know. But yeah, I kind of like how the villain isn't necessarily coming for malicious intent. It's just kind of, but like before, he was just like in space, staring. That's it. But then he was taken and tortured. So yeah, that's my ranking of all these films. I got kind of quick at the end. The space and storage, basically. Which kind of reminds me of life and alien good space. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Tell me what your list is, or whether or not you agree or disagree. I know some of the lower picks people are definitely going to disagree with me. But yeah, I watched more films than I thought. I mean, it was fun to watch these movies most of the time, except for some like Tom and Jerry. Fuck off. Piece of shit. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go build one of my Legos. Now this one, pretty cool. And I also got this one, not to be a fucking bragger or whatever the hell. I also got a few more. if you want me to flex on you. But yeah, I just got that Jurassic Park visual history book, so that's pretty cool for Christmas. If only there's more fucking snow. But whatever. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you tonight. Because I'm still watching it. No, I'll see you. Well, not really see you, but like, you'll see me on one of these videos whenever I decide to upload one. Whatever that is. I have no idea. Maybe it might be filmed because I have a script that I really would like to do and get to some film festivals and shit. Whenever those happen. Alright. See you next time. Whenever the fuck that is.